Hello and welcome to the presentation on Sociology course offered at Norwin High School. My name is Patrick McLaughlin, and I'd like to take this opportunity to tell you a little bit about the Sociology course that we offer here at Norwin, tell you a little bit about myself and my background, and tell you a little bit about the focus of the course itself that we offer. First of all, I'm a homegrown product of Norwin High School. I graduated in the class in 1992 from Norwin High School. I've been born and raised in North Huntington pretty much my entire life. When I graduated from Norwin, I attended Edinburgh University of Pennsylvania, where I majored in social studies education and have a minor in history. I was very, very fortunate to receive the quality education I did for my teacher preparation at Edinburgh, and I'm proud to be a Fighting Scot. When I was doing my education at Edinburgh University, I had the fortunate experience of being able to do a student teaching placement at a very tiny school called Sagertown High School, which is part of the Pencrest School District. And Sagertown is a tiny village right between Edinburgh and Meadville. And it just so happened that the individual that I did my student teaching placement with was in line to get a principal position, and they had a social studies opening. So I was in the right place at the right time and was able to be hired at Sagertown as part of the Pencrest School District. I taught at Sagertown High School for 2 years. It was a fantastic place to get my start. They had wonderful people, wonderful kids, but it wasn't home. And when I had the opportunity to come back home and teach in the district that I went to high school in and be around family, I couldn't pass up that opportunity. And I was very pleased to come back. When I came back, I was told by the assistant superintendent that because of my background in psychology, that when the psychology teacher who was there at the time was going to retire the following year, that I would slide in and teach all of the psychology courses. And that was very disappointing to me because at the time I was very content being a history teacher. I was a history major. And although I'm certified to teach all of the social studies, this was not something that I felt comfortable with. And I shared that with him. And he kind of shook his head and said, I understand. Too bad you're still teaching psychology. Two good parts that came out of that story. So number one, the person who was supposed to retire the following year and give me the psychology courses stuck around for a couple more years and helped to mentor me, which was a tremendous benefit. And then secondly, I like to say sometimes that it was the best decision that was ever made for me because of all of the courses that I teach, and I've pretty much taught almost every course offering that we have here at the high school in the social studies department. Far and away, my favorite course to teach is the AP Psych course. This year, it's my first opportunity to be able to teach the sociology elective that we have. And I'm very excited about that opportunity. We certainly live in a current environment where sociology is very important. Recognizing some of the backgrounds of other people and recognizing that we are a collection of some of our past events that have happened to us that include things like our culture and our socioeconomic backgrounds and other things that I think it has some really nice parallels for students in their personal life and being able to recognize and appreciate the fact that some of the things they see happening, unfolding in the world today have a direct sociological tie. So that's really what my focus is. And I think it's important that we all recognize that we're part of a larger community. I'm part of the Norwin community. I currently I'm raising my family in the Norwin community. I have 4 children. The oldest is a sophomore currently in the high school. I also have a 6-year-old who's in kindergarten this year. I have a 4, almost 5-year-old who's about to turn 19, if you ask her, and I have a 1-year-old. And my wife is also a counselor in 2 of the elementary schools here in the district. A little bit about the sociology course, and since it is an elective course, we have a little bit more of an opportunity to maybe pick and choose what some of the focal areas are, and I hope to be able to kind of identify where the students' interests might lie within this curriculum so that I can tailor some of the instruction maybe a little bit more to some of those areas. But as you can see, we're going to start the course talking about an introduction to sociology and talking a little bit about sociological research. That even though sociology is a social science, we do take a scientific approach to solving problems, trying to make sure that there's empirical evidence that supports a lot of the things that people believe. That things aren't true simply because a lot of people say that they are. And we live currently in an environment where there's a lot of misinformation about a lot of different things. And hopefully, I hope to be able to train students to be able to recognize how to identify factual pieces of information and think critically about some of the claims that they are being presented with. We'll cover some information about culture and society, how we interact with other people as a group. We'll talk a little bit about socialization and how we become socialized in our cultures, within our race, within our specific subgroups, whether it be socioeconomic status or other status that we may have achieved over the course of our life. And then towards the end of the semester, we talk a little bit about deviance and crime and social control and ethnicity, along with some issues with stratification. I hope that I can be a resource for your students to be able to put some of the things that they see that are happening in current events into context of what's happening in the sociological world around them. Again, this is my first time teaching the course, so I'm learning as we go, and certainly with the online environment that we have, that's a new experience as well. But I try to make it as clear and concise as I can on the Google Classroom to make sure that those students know exactly what they're responsible for. If you have questions or want to follow up with me, you can reach me at my email that is shown at the bottom of the screen. It's just my first initial, my last name, at norwinsd.org. And I will be attaching to this video a copy of the syllabus that I have distributed that you can use as a reference as well. Thank you for the opportunity to allow me to introduce myself to you, and I look forward to a great year. Thanks.